Bill, you know, I travel back and forth from Mississippi every day, Monday through Friday, to get here to NBC 15. And one of the things that I always worry about, and I don't like to drive near them, 18-wheelers, because to me, I always worry if you get one accident, that's it. So, you know, when there are accidents with 18-wheelers, where do you begin looking for fault in an 18-wheeler wreck? How does it all kind of begin?
Yeah, it's like a normal car accident on steroids.
Okay.
If you think that it's complicated for your average automobile accident, you know, with some everyday individual, it is extremely complicated and complex when you're dealing with an 18-wheeler company. And then also just the sheer, you know, as Kelly mentioned, you know, if you have one accident, unfortunately, a lot of times it can be catastrophic, because if you think about this, the average Honda Accord, the weighs around 3,300 pounds, okay, 3,200 pounds. Most 18-wheelers are at the max rate, which is 80,000 pounds. So if you put 3,000 pounds versus 80,000 pounds, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out who's going to win that battle. And so but let's take a look at the graphic there as to trying to determine who's at fault, because it could be the truck driver, the person, you know, he could have fallen asleep or what have you, or, you know, changed lanes improperly. It could be the trucking company for allowing him to drive too many hours a certain week. It could be the manufacturer of the truck if there's some type of defect. It could be the parts. And then those last two, especially the next to last, who loaded the cargo, we see that you know, from time to time, where, because these truck drivers, they go from stop to stop. They're not the ones necessarily, not usually, loading the cargo that's going in there. So these poor people, you know, the drivers, they get in there, they assume that everything's going to be loaded properly, but if they loaded, you know, too much to the left or too much to the right or things of that nature, when you make a turn, you can tip over. We see it, unfortunately, a good bit going into the tunnel, that sharp turn going into the tunnel, going towards Baldwin County. We see 18-wheeler accidents there all the time where that load is not properly positioned and things will flip over, especially if they're going at a higher rate. But, you know, you can bet your bottom dollar when you have an accident with an 18-wheeler company, the adjusters on the other side, it's so much more advanced than, say, you know, dealing with State Farm or Geico or Allstate or whoever. These companies, or the adjusters typically are more advanced, is kind of the best of the best.
Exactly.
They immediately will have investigators there taking pictures, taking statements. And so, you know, unless you absolutely don't have any injury, and if it's just a fender bender or, you know, bumper damage and you're not hurt, you know, maybe you could handle something like that with the company yourself. But if there's any injury, especially anything substantial, you need to see a lawyer and not wait so long, because all that evidence, all those federal documents that they have to keep, a lot of times those things seem to disappear if you don't get it on it in a hurry.